On the evening of September 27th, a clash erupted between vendors and police at Kunming's Haile World Night Market. Videos show police maintaining order under the cover of night as vendors threw benches, chairs, wooden boards, and kitchenware at officers. The scene was chaotic, with debris scattered everywhere. The conflict continued intermittently for about 6 hours, with police reinforcements arriving and making arrests. It subsided at around 3 a.m. on the next day. Sources say the night market thrived due to vendors' years of hard work, starting from earning just tens of yuan daily. However, just as business improved, the government closed the market for reform and imposed fees. When vendors went to register, they discovered that many of the over 400 registered booths were not assigned to original market vendors, leading them to refuse payment. Vendors noted that they had previously paid thousands of yuan in fees, but inconsistent government policies led to evictions by city management despite payments. For many, the night market was their family's sole income source, and the prolonged closure left them desperate. Witnesses reported that on September 27th, after learning the market's renovation was complete, vendors returned to their stalls to resume business. At around 9 p.m., city management officers arrived to evict them, but the vendors resisted, sparking a clash. The situation escalated when police arrived, leading to chaos. Many citizens recorded and shared videos online. Several vendors were injured by police, and many were arrested. Their food carts, essential for their livelihood, were towed away by city management. As of now, Chinese authorities and media have not reported on the clash. The incident spread online, triggering widespread discussion. One online user said, "Public opinion in China rarely affects government actions anymore. After conflicts, they proceed as usual, using the same approach, arresting a few people and blocking some social media accounts." Another user expressed concern for the arrested vendors. "Has anyone taken away by a large police force ever returned unharmed? It feels like people vanish once they're in a police car." A user familiar with the restaurant industry said, "Most restaurant owners in China are on the edge of collapse. The owner of Yun Hai Yao in Yunnan, who died recently at 40, had a turnover of 1 billion RMB last year. He once posted online that 99% of restaurant businesses don't profit. If a business with 1 billion RMB in sales isn't profitable, how much can these small vendors earn? They're barely surviving, and the government still charges them booth fees. How much can they really collect?" Another user commented, "The government, out of funds, is resorting to theft. The clatter of pots and pans at the night market should symbolize the vibrant essence of life, but overnight it turned into a tool against city management. This is the true struggle for survival." On the evening of September 27th, a vendor stood on top of his food cart, holding a cooking spatula to stop city management from towing his cart. He stood on the cart, pointing at one of the city officials and said, "Do you want to come up and pull me down? If you don't dare, then don't bother me. I'm not afraid of dying." He also shouted at a large group of city officials below, "Who wants to come and arrest me?" One user commented that the Communist Party has pushed people to the point where they no longer care about their lives, and that what they fear the most is the people themselves. On September 28th, a video emerged showing a man using a shared bicycle to block traffic near Shanghai's Bund, a central area. His demands were unclear. The incident drew attention online, with many users commenting that such actions in a key location would likely lead to swift consequences. Some noted that the authoritarian system is under strain, viewing everyday items like phones, computers, projectors, knives, iron chains, overpasses, blanket sheets of paper, traffic signs, and shared bikes as potential threats. On September 27th, in Chentao Village, Guangxi, villagers surrounded dozens of police officers who had come to arrest rights defenders. The villagers forced the police to release the detained villagers before they could leave. In the video, a villager is seen being led away by police with his hands cuffed behind his back, but the villagers blocked the police car from leaving the village. The villagers did not engage in any violent actions. They simply prevented the car from leaving. Eventually, the police had to release the detained villager and left in defeat. One user noted that the situation felt similar to late 2022, when citizens in many cities clashed with COVID-19 prevention measures, which ultimately led to Xi Jinping hastily ending the zero-COVID policy. Now, the tensions are reaching a boiling point again. On September 29th, a video was posted showing residents of Fenghe Garden in Panlong Century City in Henan in a conflict with a security company. The residents managed to drag away and temporarily detain a special security vehicle after clashing with the company's staff. Due to the developer's forced collection of parking fees for spaces in the overhead layer, the property owners had previously launched multiple rights defense actions. On that night, the developer hired more than 10 security guards to enter the community in an attempt to forcefully collect the parking fees, leading to a conflict with the owners. During the altercation, one owner was hit by a vehicle, further enraging the residents. A man, possibly a leader of the security company, was grabbed and shoved by several female owners. His glasses were knocked off. The owners were extremely angry, seemingly holding the man responsible for the injury caused to the owner by the vehicle. On September 25th, vendors at the Xinhe Garden Night Market in Kaifeng, Henan, protested by forming a human chain and using shared bikes to block traffic, opposing the local government's closure of the night market. According to the vendors, they had all paid fees for their stalls, and if the government closed the market, they should be compensated for the losses. One user commented, "Is blocking the road becoming a new norm? If people are dissatisfied with the government, why not block City Hall or government workers' residential areas instead?" Another user remarked, "At least there's some progress now. There's some activity, unlike before when it felt stagnant. But I guess the detention center will see about 100 more people." On the evening of September 22nd, hundreds of senior students from the Tianhe campus of Zexin Middle School in Guangzhou staged a strike, shouting slogans in the hallway. They protested the school's decision to continue classes during Typhoon Ragasa. In the end, the school was forced to close for the day. In the comments, one user said, "This is a top school. Many schools prioritize graduation rates over humanity, but it's the youth who still have the courage to stand up." At the same time, Shenzhen Middle School ignored the red typhoon warning and student safety, continuing classes for seniors on the afternoon of September 23rd. To avoid responsibility, the school sent a notice in the parent group allowing students to apply to leave, but the students were unaware of this notice. Afterward, the students were furious, accusing the school of intentionally withholding the information to blame parents if something went wrong. The students remarked, "All the staff at the neighboring school went home. Are we not human?" One user revealed that China's economic situation has seriously worsened, affecting not only the lower class, but also industries serving the wealthiest sectors, which are now collapsing. From September 14th to the 15th, more than 100 golf caddies in Shenzhen went on strike, demanding reasonable compensation from the soon-to-be-closed Shenzhen Golf Club. During the strike, many golf course customers sent various supplies to the protesting caddies, as some even sang to cheer them on. According to workers, a club leader had previously threatened the employees, saying they would be blacklisted in the golf industry if they did not sign an unreasonable agreement. Public records show that the Shenzhen Golf Club, which has a history of 40 years, is the first golf course in the city, which officially ceased operations on September 20th due to its land lease expiring and being reclaimed by the government. Two customers sang to the caddies, "I saw someone throwing money around. I saw someone puffing out smoke. I saw someone crying secretly at the street corner." As they sang, the customers themselves couldn't hold back their tears, and the scene was deeply moving. Later updates revealed that on September 20th, the Shenzhen Golf Club staff reached an agreement with the club, which will compensate them based on the N+1 formula. Most employees will receive compensation of around 13,000 yuan per year of service, since the employees had no base salary. N is calculated based on the average monthly tips from the previous year, leading to significant income disparities among employees. However, many unpaid mainland employees remain the most vulnerable group, receiving no property or emotional compensation. Recently, a woman from Ordos, Inner Mongolia, posted a video online claiming that she went to a Gree appliances dealership to demand her overdue wages. Instead, she was violently attacked by the owner and his wife, sparking widespread attention online. On September 28th, the woman shared a video on social media, tearfully recounting how she was locked in an office and beaten for half an hour over the wage dispute. After escaping the office, she cried to her colleagues, "Did you hear me call you? They just beat me, pulled my hair, and stepped on me." While the video didn't show the attackers, her anguished cries were heartbreaking. After the incident, she went to the hospital for treatment and shared photos of her injuries, showing an oxygen tube in her nose with noticeable swelling around her eyes and bruises on her arms and legs. According to Chinese media, the woman said that after being called into the office, her phone was left outside, preventing her from calling the police. She was eventually forced to sign a note saying, "Wages received," before being allowed to leave. After the news broke, online users were outraged, flooding the Inner Mongolia cultural and tourism social media platforms' comment section, demanding a thorough investigation and severe punishment for the perpetrators. One commenter wrote, "This is just like the mafia. Illegal detention and violent coercion. This is definitely a crime." Many others warned, "Don't go to Ordos. I've heard many similar stories there. The local bullies are extremely vicious." In response, the local police station handling the case stated that they were investigating the matter and that the involved parties had been in mediation at the station. The police also said they still needed to investigate whether the store owner and his wife had actually assaulted the woman. Users responded angrily, "Mediation? What kind of mediation? Can you mediate a crime? Will they mediate after a murder too? What's terrifying is that after 20 days, they are still investigating whether she was beaten." Some online users have uncovered that the involved business is a Shangshu Gri applications dealership in the Dongshan district. According to reports, this couple has frequently used violence to threaten employees and withhold wages. One user revealed, "This video previously had over 100,000 likes and thousands of comments, but it has now been taken down. The police have closed the comments section." Another user commented, "Do you see why the number of family annihilation cases is increasing? The real danger lies with these bosses. They've been so arrogant and overbearing, pushing others to the edge without realizing it. One day, when their victims can't take it anymore, they might decide to take them down with them, and that will be the end for these bosses." On September 29th, a report circulated online claiming that an official from Huizhou, Guangdong, and his entire family were all killed, 15 people in total, including his wife, 2 mistresses, 7 children, 3 nannies, a driver, and the official himself. A large number of police were sent to the scene. The details of the incident are tightly sealed, and the news remains unverified. Some online users reacted with shock, stating, "It looks like China has entered the era of a Bangladesh or Nepal-style killing spree." Analysts argue that the root cause of China's conflicts and tensions is almost always economic. Even in top-tier cities like Shanghai, where secure jobs once thrived, problems have now emerged, signaling a true dangerous situation that could lead to widespread panic. Reports show that due to years of losses, the Shanghai metro has begun layoffs, with middle-aged workers in their 40s and 50s being hit hardest. The pressure on frontline employees to survive is growing. A former employee of Shanghai Shentung Metro, using the pseudonym Li Xin, revealed the layoff compensation standards. A duty station manager with 30 years of service will receive 430,000 yuan. A train driver with 25 years of service will get 310,000 yuan. And a maintenance technician with 20 years of service will be compensated with 235,000 yuan. Li Xin admitted that while these compensation amounts seem considerable, they would only cover about 3 years of living expenses in a city like Shanghai. Especially for workers in their 40s and 50s, it's extremely difficult to find suitable jobs after losing employment, and they must pay for their own social security. He added, "The first batch of 2,000 workers over 50 years old will likely get around 450,000 yuan. The metro layoffs might be just the beginning. In the future, high-speed rail and buses could also face downsizing. New social security regulations are putting too much pressure on companies, but employees are facing even more. After all, once you lose your job, you lose everything." As China's economic downturn continues, the metro industry has been severely impacted. According to mainland media, in 2024, at least 26 cities' metro systems in China will remain in the red, even after government subsidies. Even Beijing is struggling, with most metro companies relying heavily on government support. Shanghai, which has been considered one of the least loss-making cities, is now starting layoffs, raising further concerns. At the same time, there's been a significant downgrade in consumption in Shanghai, with a sharp decline in foot traffic. Li Xin revealed that since the lifting of COVID restrictions in 2023, the economic situation in Shanghai has remained sluggish. On his line, the number of passengers during the morning rush hour has decreased by a third compared to pre-pandemic levels, and this year, the number of passengers has continued to fall. Recently, Li Xin went to a large shopping center near the station on a weekend. During lunchtime, the food street had customers only in front of milk tea and fried skewer shops. The Japanese restaurant, steakhouse, and even Pizza Hut were almost completely empty. He sighed, saying, "This is a true picture of Shanghai's consumer contraction in 2025. Observers believe that for the past 20 years, the metro system was considered the city's lifeblood, with cities across the country investing massive amounts to build new lines, competing for political achievements. However, now with overwhelming debt and annual deficits, the metro has become a heavy financial burden." Li Xin said, "Over the past 2 years, the metro's losses actually serve as a reminder that any romanticism that ignores economic laws will ultimately pay the price." If this is the case in Shanghai, the situation in other second and third tier cities can be easily imagined. Recently, 3 public transport companies in Guangxi, including Lipu Tongda Urban and Rural Public Transport, issued a notice stating that they have long faced a shortage of operational funds. On one hand, passenger numbers have dropped and operational costs have risen, leading to a sharp decrease in revenue. On the other hand, government subsidies have not been provided on time or in full, exacerbating the financial strain, which ultimately made the companies unable to pay for vehicle insurance and other necessary expenses. Starting from September 29th, the buses will temporarily suspend operations. This news immediately caused panic among local residents. The local government quickly denied the claim, stating that the suspension was not reported in advance and they had ordered the companies to rectify the situation. On September 28th, a staff member from the Lipu City's Transportation Management Department told multiple official media outlets that any suspension of public transport must be reported 3 months in advance. The sudden suspension by the 3 companies was a violation, and the authorities had ordered them to resume operations. He emphasized that the government would ensure the normal operation of public transportation according to the law. On September 29th, Guilin-based internet writer Wei Hao told overseas media that the bus company's notice was not just about losses, but also a tactic to reinforce authorities to allocate funds. He said, "A friend of mine told me that the Lipu city government refused to continue subsidizing the long-term loss-making bus companies, and the companies had to cut insurance and employee benefits. The suspension notice was meant to pressure the city government to keep funding." Regarding the local financial situation, Wei Hao explained that Lipu's government is facing severe financial pressure. Not only are there no subsidies for the buses, but the wages of sanitation workers are also overdue. Benefits were canceled months ago, and even basic wages for frontline workers are hard to guarantee. Several residents of Guilin and Lipu also told reporters that buses are their primary mode of transportation, but with incomes falling and job opportunities scarce, people are already reducing their outings. If buses are suspended long-term, it will directly impact their daily lives. Screenshots and discussions about the Lipu bus suspension quickly spread on WeChat moments. Some mocked, "If you can't even keep the buses running, how can the city talk about development?" Others bluntly stated, "The suspension is not the company's fault, it's because the government has no money." Some comments expressed concern that the grassroots financial crisis is manifesting through the collapse of public services. Today, it's buses. Tomorrow, it could be hospitals or schools. One user commented that, as China's economy continues to worsen, the conflicts between different social classes will only intensify, and group protests and malicious incidents will continue to emerge. I hope ordinary people can clearly understand where the root of all this lies. Who is the culprit? Only then can they stay mentally prepared and get through these tough times. Don't keep shouting, "Love the party, love the country," while being crushed by the CCP's iron fist. If you do, there's no hope.